This is Tammy.
I can hear you via computer speakers and my phone.
Awesome. Hey, Eric, I see your note there. It does seem like it's been a quick couple weeks, doesn't it? Time's flying. Can't believe it's going to be Thanksgiving in just a couple weeks, too. Nancy can't hear anything, she says. It is silent. Nancy, are you on your phone or are you on your computer? You may want to call in. Hey, Margaret. You guys are stuck with me today. Dee Reinhardt is actually at A Safe Haven, so I don't anticipate they're going to be getting on today. She's doing a technical assistance review there, and then Olivia Grisham is not feeling well today, so she's out of the office today. So I'm holding the call all by myself. Okay, good, Nancy. I see you're going to call in. That's great. Let's just give a couple minutes here, and then we'll get started in about, say about 1 minute. Please be sure you guys to check in. If you haven't checked in your agency, please go ahead and check that box. There's nothing for downloads or anything today. We just need you to check in, and then, like I said, it'll probably be a relatively quick webinar today. We're just going to go over some numbers and then updates on some processes of where we're at now with Epic. Hey, Eric, I see you won't be able to stay past 3:15. No worries. It looks like you guys are fine as far as your numbers are concerned on the dashboard. So I don't believe there's only one customer that you currently have that you need to update the completion status for. So that it's where you complete the industry and the hiring source fields for the customer, and I don't have the specific customer name here for you, but we look at your ones that are marked as employed and make sure that you have the industry and hiring source for all of your customers. So I'll give you that info before you have to go. Okay, folks, Chelsea, if you want to go ahead and start the recording, I'm not sure if you have yet or not. Let's go ahead and get this meeting started. Once again, this is Tammy. I'm doing it solo today. Dee is at ACF Haven, and Olivia is not feeling well today. We don't have a lot to cover today. What I'm going to start out with is going over the numbers, and Olivia provided this for us yesterday, so we have these numbers for you. So currently what we are looking at is the information that's on our dashboards and specific tasks that you guys need to take care of. We do have some CBOs that have past due 2151As, CAPS, Cottage Grove, you have quite a few sitting out there. Central State Sears, you've got 8, Asian Human Services, there's 1 there. Roseland 3, Inspiration 3. We need for you guys to go in, and actually Tri-County Urban League, you've got 25, so we need for you guys to go in there and get your 2151As uploaded because they were due by the 5th of the month, and now this is the 8th. And I know many of you are starting to schedule staffing, especially in the Chicago area, so we need to make sure that you're getting those 2151As uploaded. The next one is the completion status. Now, we do have a few of you here that needs to go through the completion status, and you need to make sure that you're uploading the documentation that's required for that. So if you take a look at these numbers, once again, Central State Sears, you've got 4. They're not too bad. We just have a few. Tri-County Urban League's got 6. So just make sure that you're going in and checking the completion status and uploading documentation that's required for that. And then the next one is DHS has indicated SNAP ineligible. CBO action is required. We have a few that are still sitting in there. So what you need to do is look at that line there where it says, once again, that DHS indicated SNAP ineligible. It's on the bottom of the dashboard, and I believe it's in yellow. and CBO action required. You need to click on those individuals. And I think in most cases those would just need to be marked as no longer SNAP eligible because the DHS has identified them as not SNAP eligible. So we just have a few caps. You got quite a few in that area you need to take a look at. National ABLE's got 3 there in there. Tri-County Urban League, you have 11. So just, follow back up on that. Once again, this is just all data cleanup and making sure that you're getting the information in there and coded appropriately. And let me see if I have any questions here. Okay, Bill, it sounds like you need some help. Why don't we work with you offline then? Follow-up required, the 2151A form, up to date to I need help. So if you want to give me a buzz afterwards, let me put my number in here. If you want to give me a buzz afterwards, Chelsea, I've been getting some feedback there. Okay, thanks. My number in here. I'm still getting feedback. Give me a call and we can walk through that and see what needs to be done with that. Okay. We can't see the full screen on our end, only up to Rock River. Okay. And I think Chelsea's moving that screen. If you click on the double key, that'll make it bigger, but Chelsea's moving it through so that everybody can see their specific service numbers in that. So, and then, okay, Chelsea, if you want to go ahead and move the form on down to the second page. As you guys know, we have added some new fields under the completion section under when you enter the employment information. One is identifying the industry and another is the hiring source fields. And Olivia had sent out, I believe it was, the week before last, that emails to everybody relating to putting this information in. And we still have a few that needs to update this information. So your numbers are in here. Here's Central State Sears. There's 9 customers that you need to look at. Homework Hangout, that's at 1. Inspiration 1. Jane Addams has 3. Leslie Bates 2. Metricon 1. North Lawndale 2, Rock River 5, and Springfield Urban League 9. So I need you to go into your customers that are employed, hired by employer, and add that information into those new fields that were put in there. A lot of what we're doing with this is looking at their employment placement and making sure that it aligns first with the training program and also with credentials. And in some cases, if we just look at the employer, it doesn't necessarily tell us specifically if it aligns with that career training program or with the credentials. So this is just another step for us to be able to identify aligning of training and placement. And then CAPS, Cottage Grove, Olivia's going to work with you on yours. So those are the numbers that we have. If you guys can go in and clean those up, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, I see Nancy, the one that completion status, we cannot close because client was never enrolled by us. Please advise. Okay, yeah, just Nancy, send me a note on that also, and we'll help you with that one. If they were never enrolled, then yeah, you shouldn't have been able. You shouldn't even have had a nice step with them. So if they're not enrolled, there should you won't be able to do that. So we'll help you with that one. How do I find out, Autumn? Once again, I can look at that. We can pull an export of the report, and we can take a look at which customer of yours does not have that information. So if you want to get a hold of me, we can look at that. And I believe you guys can also do an export of your customers, and if you look at those columns, then you can see who's missing that specific information. Okay, so if you can't find it, let me know, and then we'll get to that specific customer that we need to find. Okay, any other questions on that? That's basically dealing with our data cleanup. The next thing I want to discuss, Chelsea, if you want to bring up the protocol for re-engagement. As all of you know, we've hit our 5,000 random assignment numbers, so we've got 2,522 that have been assigned to our treatment group. DHS has decided that we are going to not enroll any new customers at this point, and we're just going to re-engage. So I'm sure a couple weeks ago, you guys were getting summary reports on, probably a bulk of customers that were ineligible that now have become eligible. or there's been customers that were eligible that are no longer eligible. We've developed a protocol of how we're going to be handling this, and this is still kind of in draft form, but I just wanted to walk you guys through this. So basically, the DHS team needs to have this customer, come back in to make sure the status is the same. So what's happening is Deidre's admin team, along with also the DHS local offices, are going to be looking at our customers at least once a month to see how their eligibility status is. So they're looking at their new IES system, and they'll compare that, if their status, and they'll translate that into our EPIC system. So this will be updated, like I said, at least once a month, if not more frequently. So, and then when that happens, it'll create a case note, and at the end of the day, you receive summary sheet of all of the changes that were made. So you need to pay close attention to this summary page, because this is going to let you know what customers that are in your group have become eligible again. Now, DHS is going to have to go back into DHS because they need to review their status and make sure nothing has changed with that customer. So DHS will, send these individuals to 1721 to invite them in. Now, there's absolutely no reason that you guys can't do some outreach if you want to, too. So if you want to outreach to the customers and say, hey, I see you've become eligible again. You were in my group for the EPIC services, and encourage them to reach out to the DHS caseworker and get back in if they want to come back into the services, get back with them as quickly as possible so that we can get them re-engaged. So anyway, the whole process, what's happening is we've unlocked the calendar section on the system. So DHS can now go in and schedule customers for an appointment. So it's very important that all of you guys have your appointments out through at least December, so we can schedule these individuals back with you guys as they come in. Some things that may occur when they come back in, they may say, okay, I'm really not interested in that training program, I want something else, and they may be aligned with a different provider, and that's fine. So you may end up losing some customers because they may end up going to a different provider, based upon, their interest has changed, or they think that they may do, fare better in a different type of a training program. And that will happen. So when those types of things happen, we're going to be locking down their I-steps, and we'll be maintaining that information. But if they change providers, the new provider can't change anything that was done by you guys if you originally had them. So what DHS will do is they'll meet with these individuals. They when they are doing this eligibility check, they're going to go back in, and if they were marked as not SNAP eligible and they're making them eligible, then there's also going to be a radio button. This isn't done yet. It's still being in production, but hopefully by the end of this week or next week it'll be done. There's going to be a radio button that they'll click on that will say this customer's eligible again for re-engagement, and then that's going to move those customers up into the need to schedule an appointment section on our enrollment. And so that allows DHS local offices to keep track of these customers, and then to know that they have to reschedule these customers for an appointment with you guys. So once they go through that process, then they will come back to you guys based upon the scheduled appointment, and we're treating them as a new customer, so it kind of just starts over again. You'll go back through, they'll receive a 2151 to come to you guys. If they show up, you engage them and enroll them again. If they don't show up, then you'll send the 2151 as a no-show back to DHS. So it starts our process over again. One of the things I definitely want to point out, though, and Chelsea, if you can go back up a little bit, I kind of skipped around on this agenda. We have had some customers that have been engaged with you guys and they're participating, but then all of a sudden they've become not SNAP eligible. They've been marked as not SNAP eligible. And we've had, several agencies that have called and say, we're working with this customer. I don't understand what's going on. Why did they become ineligible? Probably 99% of the time those customers didn't go through the redetermination. And if they miss the redetermination, then they can be taken off SNAP benefits. So part of what our protocol is in this, if you see that, if you notice that happens with some of your customers, you can work with them and you can scan or fax or email the redetermination paper into the DHS local office for them. And then what you should do is put a case note in there and identify that you're working with a customer and you've sent the redetermination documentation in for this person to get, on SNAP benefits again. because we want to expedite this process as much as possible. Because you're not supposed to serve them, you're not supposed to spend any money on these customers when they are not SNAP eligible. But if we can expedite this process, hopefully they won't be in that status for very long at all. We want to make sure that we're trying to move them at least within a week, if not sooner. It'd be great if we can do 24 or 48 hours to get them back and eligible for SNAP benefits. So this process will be expedited for our EPIC customers if that happens to you guys. Does anybody have any questions? Let me see if we have anything here. Yeah, and this is still in draft form. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go through the questions here real quick. I see, Autumn, I thought I had to talk to Olivia. How do I find out? Okay, I got the ones. That was the one prior. Help. Okay, it looks like we're good on the questions so far. Like I said, this the determination process is still in the works, and we will have the final form of this out to you guys here real soon. So, and then the other thing I want to discuss with you is that this is November, and our grants it went through January of 2018. The end of January of 2018 is when they expire. Our department can only put out 2-year grants, and so we initiated these grants 2 years ago. It's crazy to think it's been that long. But 2 years ago, almost, because that's when we started doing the random assignment, and it was a very, very slow start, as all of you know, with this EPIC program as far as the referrals are concerned. Well, we are approaching now our 2-year term of this, and we're going to be working with you guys individually as far as next steps. If you want to continue on with the program, we can do extensions, and the thought is that we would extend these grants potentially out to the end of October. So there's going to be a couple variables that's going to be related to this. One is going to be, your desire to continue. The other is going to be looking at your expenditures and your performance and seeing how that's playing out, if it's prudent to continue your grants, especially in light that we're just doing re-engagement and we're not going to be getting in huge numbers of customers to you guys. So we have to really, monitor our performance along with our expenditures. And in that same vein, we are reevaluating the pay-for-performance model also, and we're adding an assessment section of that too, so it'll be more beneficial for you guys with the pay-for-performance model, because right now we don't take into consideration all of those individuals that come to you and that you assess and you have to staff, but may never get in a training program. So there's several moving parts right now that all have to come together here really, really soon. So we'll be working with you, like I said, on an individual basis to see, the next steps once we, are moving towards the end of our grants and the extension process of that. So if you have any questions on that too, please give me a call. We can, talk one-on-one with those, if you have any specific questions related to your organization. And let me see. Okay, yeah, Nancy, the redetermination papers can be scanned and emailed, and they can be scanned and emailed to the DHS local office. So if you have, and if you're working with somebody, and just to bring this up, if you're working with a customer and the redetermination date is coming up, make sure you work with them and get that information in. We would prefer you guys getting ahead of this and catching them before they get knocked off the SNAP benefits, as opposed to trying to get them back on after they've missed their redetermination date. So it's a great question to ask your customers. Have you gotten your redetermination paperwork? When is your redetermination date? Let's make sure you're getting that done so you don't get knocked off SNAP benefits. And, there could potentially be a tool in the future that can be utilized. It's with the new system that DHS is putting together. It's not there yet, but maybe in the future you can help them manage their case, as long as they agree that you can work with them on that. And there's an affidavit they'd have to fill out for that. That unfortunately is not available at this time, but maybe in the future that might be a resource to really help you guys with these customers also. So with that said, I think I've covered pretty much everything that I need to on today's webinar. We really appreciate you guys' efforts out there. I mean, we're definitely making progress with this EPIC. It's a beast for sure, but we're really excited about the progression of it. Just to throw out some numbers, and this was as of, I think, at the end of October, we had 2,522 referrals. Of those referrals, we had about 713 that were no-shows. They never got enrolled because they never showed up to the providers, to you guys. And then we had 1,804 that were enrolled with providers. So, and then of that, after enrollment, there's about 769 that are no longer SNAP eligible for one reason or another. Some of that is because of they dropped out of the program. There's some incarcerations, moved out of the state. A few dropped out of the study. We have, some that are employed, and that's the great part. We're seeing that number go up of customers who are employed and no longer receiving SNAP benefits, and that's a positive thing. That's what we want to see. And then there's a large number that are no longer SNAP eligible because of noncompliance. So that particular group is what we're really looking at and targeting to re-engage. So once they get back on SNAP benefits, is to get them back into you guys as quickly as possible. So we're making progress. We have, I think, over 300 now employed. That number definitely needs to, keep increasing. We definitely want to see the increases in credentials earned, specifically in the career pathways that they're going to be placed in employment. So that's all the numbers that we're starting to look at, with you guys and monitor and see how our performance is going with the service side of it, service delivery. So with that said, Chelsea, is there anything?
Nope, I don't think so.
Specific? I talk really fast, I know. So if there's any other questions, like I said, please give me a call, and we will walk through those individuals that you need to get the employment information on. And like I said, we'll be working with each of you individually, too, on next steps as we move forward with the EPIC program.
Someone did ask what were the overall numbers again.
Overall numbers. Here, let me actually pull up, if you guys don't mind, just for 1 second, because I just ran this, and so I'm going to give you exactly what we've got here. Okay. So for the EPIC treatment group, the number of people that have been referred to the CBOs is 2,522. Of that, 726 were never enrolled, and those are ones that, missed their appointment. They didn't come to the CBO. We have 1,796 that are enrolled with a provider, and of that number, 744 are no longer SNAP eligible for one reason or another. And so an example is we have 168 that are hired 30 hours or more that are not SNAP eligible. So that's a good measure. We want to see that one grow. Unfortunately, we have about 455 that are not SNAP eligible, and those are primarily because of noncompliance and not following through with what's required with them, with DHS policy and maintaining benefits. We did have about 45 that dropped out of the program that are no longer SNAP eligible. We have about 42 that are still marked in progress that are not SNAP eligible. Some of those individuals, and we're going to be looking at these numbers too, some of those individuals may have just become eligible or may have just become not SNAP eligible. So some of that number could be those redetermination customers that were just marked as ineligible that you still have in progress that we just need to make sure that we're moving and getting them on benefits again. So we have a small number, 10 that moved out of state, 6 that are incarcerated. So that's kind of what makes up that, no longer SNAP eligible. And we have 1,077 that have been placed in training programs. Of that, 441 have completed an academic training. So that's some sort of an academic measure in the ISTEP. And these come from the ISTEP. So if one of the things we're doing on our IT visits is verifying that you're documenting everything in the ISTEP, because the ISTEP drives our numbers as far as service delivery. So if you don't have information in the ISTEP, it's not going to be reflected in this. And then we have 348 employed and 182 retained at this point. So like I said, I know that there's several CBOs we're working with on the I-steps to make sure documentation is in there so the numbers are reflected. But that's where we're at this point. And we can share this with you. We'll, on our next webinar, I'll make sure that we have this document available for you guys so you can see it too. The only thing with this document is it's a real-time document, so it changes, every day, depending upon if somebody goes on SNAP benefits are off or where they're at in their progress. So that's all I have, guys. You guys have a great, great afternoon. And then it won't be next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, I do believe, will be our next CBO webinar. And, we should have some good information for you as far as, what's going on too. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more people coming in or people coming in for re-engagement. But then next steps, will be identified a lot, further too when we get to that one on the 22nd. Thanks, guys.